All right, let's get right into it. If you want to understand the future, what kind of book should you be reading? Well, I guarantee the answer is not what you think.
I mean, just stop and think for a second. Doesn't life already feel a little bit like science fiction? So much of what we deal with every single day used to be pure fantasy. Things like artificial intelligence, the kind that can whip up a poem, paint a masterpiece, or just have a totally normal conversation with you.
And what about genetic engineering? We are literally rewriting the code of life itself, trying to cure diseases and change how living things work.
And of course, there's the constant surveillance. That little device in your pocket is tracking, well, who knows what? The world is changing so fast. So the big question is, how on earth are we supposed to make sense of all this?
Well, it turns out we've got a case to solve. And the first rule of any good investigation, you might be looking at the wrong suspect.
See, our usual go-to is science fiction, right? I mean, it makes sense. It's the genre of spaceships, aliens, and crazy high-tech gadgets. It feels like the obvious place to look for clues about our technological future.
But what if we've been following a false lead this whole time? What if there's another genre, one that's been hiding in plain sight that actually holds better clues? What if the real key to understanding our post-human future, a future where tech changes the very definition of being human, is found in a good old-fashioned detective story?
Now, look, this isn't just some wild theory I cooked up. This whole idea comes from a 2024 academic article called, and get this, Beyond SF, Reading the Posthuman in Crime Fiction. It's by a researcher named María Abizanda-Cardona, and her whole point is that crime fiction is actually the perfect genre to investigate the strange, tech-heavy world we're building.
So how does she build this case? Well, it all comes down to 3 crucial clues.
Okay, clue number 1, technology itself. Just think about it. Crime fiction has always been obsessed with the latest tech. We're talking everything from the revolutionary idea of using fingerprints to all the modern forensic science you see on TV. And now, even AI detectives. The genre uses tech to solve the crime, for sure, but it also shows us just how easily that same tech can be twisted and abused.
Clue number 2 is something called anti-humanism. Okay, that sounds complicated, but it's really not. It just means that these detective stories are constantly questioning the idea that humans are these perfectly logical, rational beings. They show us again and again that cold, hard logic isn't always enough to solve the mystery. They make us look at the messy, irrational, and kind of dark parts of who we are.
And the third clue? Politics. See, the best crime fiction isn't just about catching one bad guy. Nope. It's about investigating the entire system. It digs into how money, power, and social inequality decide who gets justice and who doesn't. It doesn't just put a person on trial, it puts the whole of society on trial.
So, when you put all these clues together, the tech, the questioning of human nature, the politics, the genre does something really powerful. It puts our whole idea of humanity on the stand.
And here's where it gets really fascinating. The article calls crime fiction a Janus-faced discourse. Like the Roman god with 2 faces. It means it looks in 2 opposite directions at the exact same time. On one hand, it can be a sharp critique, a warning about the dangers of a world run by tech and corporations. But on the other hand, it can also kind of make us comfortable with that future, making it feel normal and even inevitable.
And that duality forces us to ask a really tough question, probably the central question of our time. Is all this amazing new technology actually a tool for justice that's going to restore order? Or is it just creating brand new, super sophisticated ways to control every single one of us?
Look, this isn't just some fun literary debate. This is about your future. This is about the post-human world we're all walking into right now.
So why does any of this really matter? Well, because we're constantly being sold this super shiny, optimistic version of the future, right? Crime fiction is the reality check. It's the genre that isn't afraid to dive into the messy ethics of things like cloning or what happens when an AI wants rights. It helps us spot the real dangers of technology when nobody's watching the people in charge. And maybe, just maybe, it gives us the language and the ideas to fight for a more just future.
So, let me ask you, the next time you really want to understand where we're all headed, are you going to pick up a sci-fi novel or are you going to pick up a detective story? Because the most important clues are often found exactly where you least expect them.